Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Movie Idol. So in this video, I want to talk about the preview special that we got for season 10 of The Walking Dead that just aired on AMC. I'm going to break down all the information that we learned, all the new information anyways, talk about a little bit of what they talked about, and also break down the sneak peek that we actually got tonight. It was a scene between Daryl and Carol. I think it's right after Carol got off the boat. We know why she was on the boat. We know exactly what she was doing. And they also reference a certain character that I do think potentially hints at a storyline that could be coming very, very soon. And that's involving Maggie and then in season 11. So obviously, before we jump in, I do have to warn you for spoilers for The Walking Dead. Obviously, just season 9. And also, if you want Minecraft videos, the first video for that will be coming out tomorrow. I'll be playing that on my personal channel, so just make sure to go subscribe if you're interested in that. I will also be playing Mining Dead as well, so expect that in like the next week or so. So going down the list here of notes that I made on my phone, Angela King started off by confirming that the way they do time jumps is sort of based on the kid's age. Chris Hardwick actually asked her how big the time jump was going to be from the season 9 finale. She wouldn't give an exact time. She just wanted to say, well, you know, Rosita has her baby now, so roughly that amount of time. Which overall I think is smart for them to do. I mean, you don't really want to get an exact timeline down because then continuity eventually will start to mess up because you can't always keep that in mind, right? That's why I think in season 7 and 8, it was around there anyways, when they confirmed that it's only been like 2 years or something in the apocalypse. That was a bad mistake in saying that because Carl obviously aged like 7 or 8 years. So they should have just had it at 7 or 8 years, right? But I guess Judith also was still very young. But yeah, anyway, speaking of babies, we know Rosita's baby's name now. It's Coco. Rosita actually picked the name herself because it runs in her family or something like that, she said. The quadrangle is still going, and it seems like Eugene is more the father figure than Siddiq and Gabriel. I guess they're just very preoccupied with other things. Obviously, Gabriel is head of the council. He's looking after Alexandria. He has stuff going on with Negan. Siddiq obviously has his own things. He is a doctor and stuff like that. Eugene is just always there for the baby. He seems to always be there looking after the baby, fooling around with that radio. And so I can kind of see how that's going to play a part this season. Eugene will be watching his baby and he'll be bored and wanting to do something at home because he's kind of like a stay-at-home dad in that sense. He starts fooling around with his radio and then he discovers this woman on the radio, right? That's how I think it's going to play out in this first half. One thing that I like that Josh McDermott said about Eugene, and I do think it really helps a lot in explaining what Eugene was doing in season 7 and 8 because he got a lot of criticism in those 2 seasons, especially from me too. Like, I just did not like Eugene in season 7 and 8 because he just did things that I think was just not very Eugene-like. I mean, it was very Eugene-like, but it was just the way it was done that I had a big issue with. But Josh McDermott said that Eugene is always seeking validation. And so back in season 7 and then season 8, whenever Eugene would do something for Negan and Negan would say, oh, like, that's a good boy or whatever, it made him feel good. So that's why he kind of continued to do that. And I do like the explanation for that, but I do still kind of have an issue with, would he really have done all the things that he would have done just for validation? Because that's kind of an asshole move, right? Anyways, I like that he mentioned that. Actually, a hilarious moment happened. Chris Hardwick asked Josh McDermott, who does Eugene see as the bigger threat in season 10? And he said Siddiq. Also, another takeaway, and Angela King actually said this on Talking Dead, but she definitely is the female Negan. I mean, she is constantly swearing. At first, I thought it was an act. I thought they were trying to make us really like Angela King because she's a new showrunner, blah, blah, blah. And I thought this like last year. It was at season 9 Comic-Con. I was like, this could be an act, but then it's been like over a year now. We've seen plenty of examples of her swearing, not meaning to either. It just kind of comes out and yeah, she's totally the female Negan. And actually on Negan, she does say there is going to be a very surprising Negan moment happening this season. And I am planning to do a video on this more in depth because I want to talk about Negan and how I think he's going to come out, what he will do when he gets out and where he's going to go and stuff that's going to happen because we actually saw a character in one of those photos. His name is Brandon Rose, and there's something very, very specific about that character that ties to something that Negan does in the comics. Everyone thinks Negan is redeeming himself, but it's going to go another way. Come to think about it, I don't think the comics did anything with that afterwards. They kind of just let everything slide. I'm pretty sure anyways, but yeah, Negan is still Negan. I'll just say that. He's definitely not all goody two-shoes. I mean, I guess in a way he is redeeming himself, but I wouldn't say this is necessarily his redemption arc. Kari Payton was then asked about Michonne and Ezekiel's kiss, and obviously he couldn't give too much information on it. They didn't really talk about it at all. He just kind of said, well, you know, when you're alone in the woods, things can happen, and that was pretty much it for the most part. I imagine it's not going to be that important to the story this season. I think that moment could happen. I think it's pretty much going to die out right there. I don't know what to expect from it, but I think in this shot here, with Michonne and her haircut and obviously having Lucille here, I don't think she's with Ezekiel at this point. So I think it's going to be very short-lived, and I think there's going to be a very simple explanation for it. And I think this now just based off of their response on Talking Dead. One thing that I really liked is that Nicotero described The Walking Dead season 10 in 3 words, and it was watch your back. That was one thing that was a common theme in tonight's episode of Talking Dead, was that season 10 is very much about paranoia. Like, you cannot trust anyone, like, just at all. So Dante, I think, is going to play a role into that. I think Lydia is going to play a role into that. Silence the Whispers. All of that's going to be playing a role into this paranoia feeling within Alexandria. And I felt a lot of paranoia during the fair. I mean, imagine actually feeling it constantly throughout Alexandria, throughout the first half of season 10. I mean, I'm definitely very, very hyped for that. They also gave their reactions to the comic ending very fast. And Josh McDermott, he was a huge fan of the comic. He read every issue. He always read the letter hacks and all that. And then when it ended, he was just very, very shocked. And actually, he did the same thing that I did. My plan was to write to Kirkman to see if I can get my little thing or letter or whatever I wrote to him in the letter hack section. And the issue or two, I think it was like issue 191 or 190 that I planned to do that. They pretty much ended right after. So Chris Hardwick is apparently shocked as well. He had no insider information. He didn't know anything. And afterwards, he felt this weird sense of loss, which I think a lot of us all felt. Cassidy McClincy, I believe, who plays Lydia, also said that Lydia this season is going to be in a very, very scary situation because of where she is. She's in Alexandria, and she's Alpha's daughter. And with all this paranoia, with everybody wanting them dead, with certain characters might wanting to use her for leverage, she's not feeling that safe, and so that stick is definitely going to come into use, so it's a good thing that she's training right now. A few things that we really liked, and some of this stuff was talked about before, but this one specific thing wasn't, and that was, we will learn more about Alpha and Beta's relationship backstory. We knew we were getting some more backstory with Alpha and Beta, but not on their relationship. I guess they're definitely going to be going into that a lot more. Why are those two together? Like, why do they operate the way they operate? How does that relationship work? We're going to be exploring that, as well as Alpha's humanity. How does Lydia being in Alexandria affect her, and etc. Also, we're getting a lot of Michonne and Judith in season 10, which is pretty obvious because it's their last season together for a very long time, unless she comes back in the very final episode or something like that. But a lot of fun things will probably happen between those two characters. A lot of emotional moments, I imagine. I mean, those two characters are essentially the same. And Michonne is the one person that has always been there for Judith from the beginning. If you think about it, yeah, maybe in season 3 and 4, not really, obviously not that much. I mean, Michonne was mostly there for Carl, I would say. But when Carl died and as soon as Rick was gone, Michonne was really the only person in Judith's life that had her back. I wish I could say the same thing about Daryl, but he was just never around. He's always constantly leaving Alexandria. Obviously, when he comes around, he goes to see her, he goes and says hi and all that, but Michonne is her mother, right? Like, Michonne is that character to her. So depending on how Michonne leaves, I mean, we're obviously going to have some crazy emotional moments in season 10. Angela Kang actually said that Michonne's story and her ending on The Walking Dead was the hardest part to write for this season. It's something that she's been stressing out a lot about. And she also kind of said that her shaved head, like she didn't say shaved head, but the fact that Michonne has a new hairdo or a haircut now, that is going to play a role in some way. And also, obviously that she has Lucille, that kind of hints at something. Like, why does she look that way? Why does she have Lucille? I do think that's an episode 12 thing. Like, I'm so confident her look there, that's an episode 12. I just feel so confident in that. One thing that I'm mostly excited for, I think, is the Carol and Alpha confrontation, because they asked Angela Kang, like, what was something that you're very excited about for season 10, or it was something like that anyways. And as she was answering, she was actually thinking of a scene that between Carol and Alpha, and she was saying it's just so amazing, it's so epic, and she's so excited for people to see it. It's a Carol and Alpha confrontation scene or something like that, and yeah, I'm just so excited for that. I want to see those two characters together. I mean, Carol in the trailer saying, bitch has to die, or whatever. I mean, I think she could be my favorite character in season 10. Her and Negan anyways. I think those two characters are going to be people that I gravitate to a lot this season. But we did get a sneak peek. It was actually an extension of the scene between Carol and Daryl at the end of the season 10 trailer. Carol just got off the boat or something like that, and Daryl was asking her, like, what were you doing out there? Like, were you trying to find her? Obviously a reference to Alpha, and she says, no, I wasn't. I was out there looking for supplies for Oceanside or something, because Maggie always leaves supplies in a certain area and those supplies haven't been there in a very long time. So she's kind of wondering about it. Like, why hasn't Maggie been delivering all those supplies to Oceanside? So that is kind of an odd thing for Maggie right now. Like, they are constantly mentioning her, and that is sort of her role right now in the series, is that she's just delivering supplies to all of these communities. So it was a nice mention. I do think this scene here is from the season 10 premiere. I think it's going to happen within the first 10 minutes of season 10. That's just my prediction anyways. I don't think they would give away anything from episode 2 or 3, but I'm wondering if the reason the supplies wasn't there hints at a potential storyline for either one of two possibilities. One, something connected to Maggie in the Commonwealth or with Georgie for season 11 or way later in season 10. Or two, a storyline with Oceanside for the first half of the season, because there's a reason why they're there, right? There's a reason Carol's on Oceanside. There's a reason why they're trying to get supplies for that community. And yeah, I think that's pretty much where we pick up in the season 10 premiere. It's in Oceanside. I think this shot here of the water is probably going to be the opening shot of season 10. At least that's my prediction right now. Like, this water here will be the opening shot. We'll see Carol on that boat, she'll get off, and Daryl's going to be there, and then we'll get this scene here or something like that. We'll probably get other shots too of what Michonne's doing. We'll get a Rick reference because we kind of need to, and then the credits will roll or something like that. Anyways, but if you watch the preview special, just post your thoughts down below. We're like 7 or 8 weeks away from the season 10 premiere, so I'm super hyped for that. Remember, this week is going to be another Walking Dead reveal on Thursday, and that's 4 days away, so I expect another video breaking down what they reveal then. I do wonder what they're going to be revealing, because for the first week, they revealed Gamma. The second week, they revealed Virgil. And then obviously the third week, they revealed Dante's casting and revealed a ton of photos. So what else are they going to be revealing for the next 7 weeks? I imagine the last 2 or 3 weeks of that are going to be actual like the opening minutes or more sneak peeks and all that. But who knows? We could get that as well this week, right? One of them could be that Maggie is coming back to The Walking Dead. I mean, that could literally be one of those weeks. But anyways, post your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.